Alright, everybody. We're going to be talking about something really, really cursed. Something that's going to be hard to look at and hear about if you are someone who's progressive, because it's a reminder of how doomed we truly were back in 2016 when it came to going against Trump. The most unelectable Democrat candidate to ever win the primary of all time, Hillary Clinton, tweeted this like 8 days ago. I'm sorry I'm getting this to this so late, but to be fair, I think I got some good stuff to show you guys and talk about. She put out this tweet saying, "What's at stake for our climate in this November's election? Absolutely everything." And then a link to carbonbrief.org, analysis Trump versus Biden, basically looking at how a Trump election win could add 4 billion tons to U.S. emissions by 2030. Now, the point of this graph is to show, here's what the current target, people who advocate for like a reasonable level, like people who are in climate science, who recommend a reasonable, doable path towards stopping the world from ending in the future due to global warming and climate change. There is a target goal that has been set. Biden's policies are projected to basically hug that goal up until 2030. However, this graph is only accounting for Biden's current policies. Well, there's a lot to it. I'm not going to explain all of it, but as you can see, past the line, 2030, the graph goes on and goes to show the Biden policies massively diverging from the target area, thus enforcing this idea that Trump and Biden are effectively no different. There's barely any difference, and no matter who wins, the Earth is doomed, thus helping to boost the doomer perspective. Hillary Clinton is a master of tweeting things that make you not want to vote for Democrats. She is just awful at optics. I don't know what makes her like this. Does anybody have any clue what could make her like this? Why she just cannot recognize how people will see the things she says and does, and recognize how it could make her look bad or make the side she advocates for look bad? She has no perception of it. Her ego, it's like her job or something. She's too retarded. I think it could be her ego, maybe. I don't know. I think it's just boomer brain. Do you guys think it could just literally be boomer brain? Like hyper virtue signally liberal boomer brain? I really don't know. I don't know. She's just awful at this. You know who's not bad at this, though? You know who's actually the GOAT of explaining things and why you should care about the environment? Hank Green. Hank fucking Green, dude. We love Hank Green. He's the GOAT. This man has taught me so much. For those of you guys that don't know, I don't know how many, how old is the average viewer in here? I'm curious. If you went to high school or middle school in the last decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, there is a good chance that you had Hank Green on your classroom screen, or were even told to watch Hank Green videos for some type of assignment. You see, Hank Green not only is one of the co-founders of fucking VidCon, but is also the guy who started Crash Course, also hosts PBS Eons, I believe, or another PBS show, SciShow, I think he also does. He's a big deal. He's awesome. He's fucking awesome. Many of you probably saw Crash Course in school. You watched Hank Green in school, now you watch him on YouTube as an adult. It's really cool. He's I don't know, is this sacrilegious to say that I kind of think of him as Gen Z's Bill Nye a little bit? Would that be too far? Is that a really good comparison? I feel like it's a good comparison. I'd honestly say he's Gen Z's Bill Nye. Went from being that guy we really like because he teaches us cool science stuff in a fun way when we're kids to this is the cool guy I go to watch hard-hitting commentary on political, scientific, and social issues as an adult, you know? It's a pretty interesting dichotomy. Bill Nye went down the same path. Yeah, Gen Z watches Bill Nye too, but Gen Z is far more, Bill Nye is far more like a Gen X thing and a millennial thing. Like, millennials and Gen X are more the ones who grew up on Bill Nye, far more often than Gen Alpha and Gen Z. I would argue that Hank Green probably has that trophy. Yeah, we love them both, but still. Can we just accept that we suck at this? I want to tell you a story that has made me kind of hopeless about Twitter's ability to affect positive things happening, and it starts with this tweet from Hillary Clinton. It was, and I understand why, widely mocked. The graph is confusing and bad, especially the part where it flattens out in 2030, which is when most of the provisions for the Inflation Reduction Act, the largest climate change bill in the history of Earth, expires. This means that this isn't claiming that, like, Biden has set out plans and he says that this is where his goals are going to end up. This is assuming Biden does nothing from this point on to help the climate. This is the trajectory we're on, assuming he does nothing from here on out. And he's not going to do nothing from here on out. If she'd just shown up to 30 years up until 2030, there'd be no problem here. This would be a pretty solid chart. The inclusion of a time period that Biden won't even be president in. It's like, what is he supposed to do about his policies continuing to have an effect after he's no longer president, even if he wins this year? Like, what is he supposed to do? I'm gobsmacked. Anyway, it was, and I understand why, widely mocked. The graph is confusing and bad, especially the part where it flattens out in 2030, which is when... Some of the people making fun of the tweet were like, how do I vote for Target? Which is a good joke, but the majority of the popular tweets about it were like, this is the problem with Democrats. They will only ever be just a little better than Republicans. And there's some examples. Lamau, Hillary, no. And it's the trolley problem, and it's Biden and Trump being exactly the same, I guess. And then you've got this person saying, I cannot get over how perfectly this one tweet encapsulates the way the Democratic Party thinks. Exactly the same is what she's saying. This person's explaining why they don't vote Democrat. Hey, quick question. Why is the Biden line so much closer to the Trump line than it is to the target? Because you can't read graphs and don't follow electoral politics. That's why. This is very demonstrably not the case if you pay attention at all, and I'll explain why, but all of these tweets got over 10,000 likes. There's also this take, this one with 11,000 likes, which is just incorrect. The 2050 goal was set by the Paris Agreement, and Biden's 2030 goal is more aggressive than the 2030 goal set by the Paris Agreement. The Paris Climate Agreement goal is to limit warming to 1.5 Celsius. That's right, Biden's presidentially enforced climate plan is more extreme than the Paris Climate Agreement because it needed to be, and people are trying to claim Biden is not going far enough, as if time is a flat, line, a dot, as if time is a dot, and all events that will ever happen exist simultaneously at all times, and if something you want to happen has not occurred yet, then it will never happen, and the person you want it to do it will never do it, because why haven't they done it yet? Surely they'll never do it then. Anyway, the fact that people misinterpreted a graph, which would be better represented as the below graphs created by No Light Upstairs and Jack's Rome, respectively, isn't what makes me so sad and frustrated. So I guess here's the... Yeah, this is a better version of the graph. Trump plan, current law, if unchanged, and Biden target. This is literally Biden's climate target, which is... Biden's target is that which the climate experts are saying it should be. Greenhouse gas emissions, Biden, Trump. Oh, showing how much different the curves are. Okay, I see. So under Biden, and what, 2025 to 2030? Okay, so under Trump's... Oh, I guess it's just been down in general. Over Trump's term and several terms before, and Obama's term and Bush's term even, And I think Clinton's too, it's hard to tell. No, I don't think Clinton would have been president at the top of this jump. Ever since Clinton, or after Clinton, it seems, we've had a steady-ish drop. A large amount of this seems to have been due to COVID. There was a big spike down during COVID. The 2010 financial crisis, actually, caused a big spike downward. Interesting. No, wait, hold on. Wait. Is this chart just worse than I even thought? What the fuck? Where's the 2008? Did we not see some? I guess maybe that could be it. I don't know. Maybe this could be it. Regardless, there were two back-to-back financial crises, one 2010, or 2011 really, and 2012, and one in 2008 to 2009. It was just a really rough 5 years, huh? Anyway, yeah. This is Biden's plan. This is the type of trajectory downward we have for Biden's plan. And with Trump's plan, this is the trajectory we'd be on, and it's not even because Trump is doing anything about the climate. It's because that's just assuming Trump does nothing to make it worse. I mean, it does frustrate me. Like, people see what they are primed to see, and obviously a lot of progressives are primed to see the Biden administration is half-assed on climate. But here's what's really frustrated me. A couple days after this bad Hillary tweet went viral on progressive Twitter, the Biden admin and the EPA announced their new CO2 rules for the power sector, regulating the ability of coal-fired power plants to exist anymore. Coal plants are just 20% of our power mix right now, but because it's so dirty, it's still more than half of the power sector's CO2 emissions. The new rules say that coal-fired plants need to capture all their CO2 by 2032 or close by 2039. That's huge. To get an idea, petroleum, this is how much CO2 we get from petroleum burning. This is how much we get from natural gas burning. This is how much of the CO2 is made up from coal, despite only being responsible for 20% of our energy. It is like 80% of our carbon output. Literally, Biden going after big coal is one of the biggest groundbreaking moves in preventing massive, game-changing, world-ending climate change ever made by a president. Trump's whole thing was talking about clean coal and being pro-coal. Trump ran on being pro-coal. You guys remember that, right? Thank fucking God we are finally killing the coal industry. Get a new job, coal miners. You're not part of the proletariat until you stop mining coal. Sorry. You're destroying the planet. Sorry. Stop mining coal. Go find another job. Go mine lithium or something. I don't care. Go mine something else. Go play Minecraft. This is why, like, a lot of like rural workers really hate the left, though. Is exactly the kind of stuff I just said there. But like, that is unironically the reality, though. Like, sorry if you lose your job in the coal industry, but I think the future of humanity deserves to live more than you deserve job security in an industry that is destroying the ability for humanity to survive on this planet into the future. This is a big deal that will dramatically increase our chances of hitting the 2050 target. The rules also say that this switch away from coal can't be accomplished by just building baseload natural gas plants unless they are not emitting CO2. This is amazing news. It's a massive change that the fossil fuel industry is going to hate and attack Biden over relentlessly. But the story of how we got here is interesting and important, so please stick with me. It began in 2005. When Massachusetts sued the EPA, saying, you have to regulate harmful emissions and CO2. You have to regulate harmful emissions and CO2 as a harmful emission. The Supreme Court agreed, and the EPA sent their findings to the Bush administration, which refused to open the email and stalled until Obama. That sounds very Republican Bush administration, just refusing to open an email. The Obama admin quickly interfaced with the EPA and attempted to do the obvious thing, create a carbon market where different sectors could trade credits so we could decarbonize as efficiently as possible. But then the Supreme Court, which with justices appointed by GWB, George W. Bush, by the way, stopped the regulation from going into effect, and eventually said, okay, you can regulate CO2, but you can't create a carbon market. You can only regulate individual power plants. You'll notice there's a pattern that's going to happen here. A Republicans in power, they do everything they can to stop any protections of the environment and undo everything any Democrat that came before them does. A Democrat gets into power, does a bunch of game-changing things. It's not enough for people. Republican takes power, undoes all of it. And because the Republicans keep successfully undoing these policies, the perception of Democrats is they get nothing done. The fact is, they get a fair amount done. The Republicans are just really good at undoing it once they get the Democrats are out of office. And the Democrats can't magically make themselves win the election. They just don't get enough. They don't get enough fucking votes. That's just how democracy works. But then Trump was president, and he, of course, scrapped everything. So Biden's EPA had to figure out how to do it in a way that fit with court precedent, and that meant keeping it a regulation that affected individual power plants, which can't capture carbon or close. But if the coal companies could credibly say no carbon capture isn't ready yet, they're asking us to do something we can't do, and the court would just overturn it. So the Biden admin first had to pass laws that developed the supported CO2 capture technology. Developed and supported CO2 capture technology. They did this with the IRA and the infrastructure law, a move that a lot of progressives disliked, but was part of these machinations. Because Trump appointed so many conservative judges, they had to get that passed before they could legally justify the new rules. Do you guys realize how deeply complicated this is, and how many hoops Biden has had to jump through in order to achieve anything, but all the while every step he takes looks awful to the average person whose only understanding of politics is social media, like clout bait tweets? You understand now, this is so much more complicated than the average, like, dumb fuck, no voter Twitter user has any conception of understanding. Biden can't just wave a magic, like, wand and make the stuff we want to happen, and he certainly can't make it permanent without staying in office. The coal lobby has always said carbon capture is the future, so the Biden admin is saying, okay, 2032 sounds like the future to me, here are the tools to get there. If it isn't the future, then stop emitting CO2 by shutting down. They worked for years to make a legally strong case that the EPA has the ability to regulate the majority of our power sector's CO2 emissions out of existence, and it almost didn't happen. And it's a testament to all the hard, smart, and long work that they did. Now, do you think I found about it when tens of thousands of people shared tweets about it? Yeah, of course not. The Sierra Club and NRDC, the Earth Justice all tweeted excitedly about it and got dozens of likes. Governor Jay Inslee got ratioed over it. Exactly. 69 likes on Earth Justice tweeting about how big of a deal Biden going after coal is. I guess it's the same thing. 88 tweets, 98 replies, ratioing Governor Cole Inslee, congratulating Biden on going after the coal industry. You have to understand, if you're not out there supporting Biden for his what a good job he's doing, you better believe the right is out there framing what he's doing well as a bad thing. I found out about it this weekend because I listened to the dorkiest, most inside baseball climate podcast on Earth, Shift Key. If you want to actually care about climate change, this and Volts from Dr. Volts are the podcasts. New Shift Key, nice. So why is the Biden administration working its ass off to get to the 2050 target when, 1, it is going to increase power costs, providing ammunition to conservatives, 2, it's a huge pain in the ass because conservative justices keep getting nominated, 3, the people who actually care about climate change will not even know it happened, do not celebrate it, and instead will focus on a misrepresented graph and owning Hillary Clinton. The only answer I have for this question is because the Biden folks don't want the fucking world to end. They want to hit the Paris Agreement targets, and so America can lead by example, even if there is a political cost and very little gain. So I guess we're all just very lucky to have people working their asses off to address climate change, even though apparently it will go unnoticed and not sway anyone to vote for them, because we're too busy being snarky on a website. I am a 100% straight man, and I would deep throat Hank Green out of appreciation for having put my entire fucking feelings about this entire electoral cycle we're currently in 2 words more concisely than I could have. This is exactly how I feel about many of you guys sometimes. This, weird lens through which you've been taught to see Biden, the Democrats, and the left through that is so marred in the Democrats are shit and don't go far enough, we're populists and the people in power now are never good enough. That, like, mindset, those brain worms are so deep in your fucking mind that you many of you don't even realize it, that they're in there. You're like sleeper agents. And on certain topics, if I mention, like, if I'm too based on a certain thing, some of you will, like, get activated. The worms will activate and take control of you, and you'll start saying dumb shit in chat, and I'll have to ban you. Happens all the time. Sometimes there's just, you can't be right 100% of the time, and also have no one going against you 100% of the time. You know what I mean? And I'm right 100% of the time, so, you know, obviously there's going to be people upset by that, but still. No, but in all seriousness here, I think this is a perfect example of how bad the left has been about giving Biden the credit that's due. Not even that, like, there is a lack of credit being given, but that when Biden does something astronomically good, an astronomically negative reaction to a different, if not non-existent thing is manufactured by the left to justify being able to say, Biden sucks. It feels like a lot of the time, many leftists online are just liberals that want to be able to say and sound cool saying, I don't like the Democrats, I don't like Biden, the Democrats suck, I'm special, I'm a special lefty, I don't like these boring, stupid Democrats, I'm actually a cool, edgy, lefty, you know? Like, it's like, okay, I feel like that's a lot of lefties online, are basically just spicy liberals that want to be able to say, yeah, the Democrats are cringe, so they feel different and look cool. Yeah, like almost like pick me libs, I feel are a lot of the lefties you see online these days. Fantastic fucking thread. I really love Hank Green. I hope he does a whole video on this. If he does, I'll react to it. I really want to see him talk more about this because he is hitting the nail on the head. And I really hope this helped to sort of elucidate how and I think a lot of people who are more tuned into, like, the day-to-day electoral side of politics, how we're feeling right now to see that, like, the Hasan-style leftist is what is becoming the trend of popularity within the online left. And it is so, so destructive. If Hasan has his way, none of his fans will vote for Biden. He is actively advocating for people not to vote for Biden, by the way, for those that aren't aware. That's why I say Hasan's worse than Destiny. He is telling people not to vote for Biden to let Trump win to punish the Democrats. Destiny is demanding his fans vote for Biden. So, like, tell me who's worse. I'm sorry, one person is telling his fans to let a fascist gain power. Thankfully, Hasan is falling off. That is true. Within the left, Hasan is getting, like, more dick riding and, like, knob gobbling than ever. Like, right now, Hasan is getting dick ridden simply for not copyright striking channels that re-upload his content and allowing them to monetize it. And because they've been able to pay off debts and pay for college and make a lot of money off of re-uploading his content, and he just didn't do anything about it, that he's being framed as, like, one of the greatest streamers of all time, one of the most kind streamers of all time. There are countless YouTubers who do this, by the way, and streamers who do this. I certainly have never copyrighted anyone for re-uploading stuff from me. It's just weird that Hasan is being praised for something that involves him doing nothing, but requires him to be so massive that re-uploading clips from him makes you enough money from randoms watching that unaffiliated clip channel that they can pay off debts. That you yourself have to be so successful, famous, and have so much money, randoms can make a living off of riding your coattails. And he is getting praised for simply being that famous and doing nothing about people riding his coattails. The amount of dick riding for Hasan within the left, astronomical. Genuinely astronomical. I said Hasan's worse than Destiny recently. My fans freaked the fuck out. The response was like, anyone who thinks that must not know Destiny's opinion on Palestine or agrees with it. And I simply replied to that person, anyone who thinks that Destiny is worse than Hasan doesn't know Hasan's position on Ukraine or agrees with it. Yeah, Hasan's definitely worse on several metrics than Destiny, and I'll stand by that any day. But we are talking about a mid-off here, right? Like, we're not even... When I say one is better than the other here, we're talking about who wins, or I guess loses, the mid-off. right? It's not a who's better contest, it's a mid-off, and Destiny just loses the mid-off. You know what I mean? Hopefully that helps to put it into, understanding of how I view it better. But yeah. Anyway. Hopefully, with this, like, Hasan style of leftism dying out, he's getting a lot of dick riding within the left right now, sure, but his numbers are dropping, and he's been coping about it a lot. So hopefully he'll continue to drop numbers, and he'll have to niche down further and further and further, and it'll create, like, a big vacuum for other people to take his place. Hopefully, even if it's not me, hopefully just people that are less bad than Hasan will fill in that vacuum. Right now, Destiny's filling in that vacuum, which is not great. Like, Destiny's the fastest growing political content creator at the moment, and that's... I imagine you guys have opinions on that, but it's because Hasan is losing fans to Destiny at a very rapid rate. Like, Hasan is making such a fool of himself and the left, like leftists in general, that when people jump off the Hasan train, the first person they go to is Destiny. That's why Destiny's growing so much, as Hasan drains numbers. Because even among the people who've fallen for this, like, dumb fuck, like no voting type lefty stuff, there is a certain level of desire to be broken out of that not real politics that Hasan engages in. Hasan's not really into real politics at the end of the day. He takes real politics and he turns it into, like, clout gobbling content material and grifts off of it. He's not engaging with politics. Half of the stuff he says is speculation while reacting to, like, stuff that isn't even from professionals on the topic. He reads tweets. He'll literally read tweets to get his news. I've watched him do it. Anyway, enough shitting on Hasan, though. As much as I would love to continue shitting on Hasan, because it upsets the Hasan fans in my audience, and they deserve to be upset because their political opinions are not valid. Unfortunately, we don't want to drag this on for too long. So really, with all that said, I really appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this segment, comment down below what you think of this whole situation with the Hillary Clinton tweet and the thread by Hank Green. I think it was all really good. And of course, maybe leave a like. Maybe, you know, thumbs up really helps a lot. Comment down below what you think. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already. It'll make sure YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video most of the time. And of course, if you want to support me financially, you can always do so by donating, subscribing, and gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon, or even buying some merch. It's always fun to buy some merch. I like seeing you guys post your photos wearing some of the merch. And, you can also join my Discord server. It's totally free. We do watch parties, game servers, call-in streams, and I also announce all my content there, so it's pretty dope.